Hello and welcome back into Slick Talk. I am your host, Blackstone Joe. Today is the Oscar Huff episode. If you don't know who Oscar is, why I might be bringing Oscar up, don't worry, you won't be left in the dark for too much longer. But really, this is a story about mistaken identity, one that I run into quite often in my line of work. Maybe my favorite instance of mistaken identity is, of course, in the film The Big Lebowski, which is also, coincidentally, one of the greatest movies ever made. Alright, that might be my last bit of hyperbole for this episode. But here's the deal. If you haven't seen The Big Lebowski, you should. One man is mistaken for another man, which leads to calamity involving bowling, a destroyed Corvette, and an unfortunate outcome for a certain person named Donnie. But this is not Nam, this is bowling. There are rules, so it's time to really stick to the main topic. But mistaken identity relates not only to that film, but also to many, many customers out there, customers of ours. Because when folks receive their report, we send our reports as a PDF attachment, and it's contained in email. Folks get this email, and sometimes they don't read quite far enough into the email to find the PDF attachment. Instead, they will click on the report explanation, open it up, and see a report addressed to Oscar Huff. And from there, the reactions, the responses can be anything ranging from general confusion to what I might describe as outright anger that we sent them a report addressed to Oscar Huff and not themselves. And of course, the other details will get to them too. The fact that the report doesn't have their engine, doesn't have their information, their results, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of opportunity for frustration if you open up the report explanation and think that's all there is. No, we provide this report explanation so that way you can drag your mouse over the various elements and get an idea of what they mean, and you can look at the physical tests we provide with our analysis and see what those are all about. We provide this that way you can look at each and every aspect of the report. Say you're looking for explanation on certain things that are not explained in our handy-dandy comment. That's what it's there for. It's a resource for you, and you can always use it for reference on what these elements are coming from, what the expected results are for, an oil's physical properties, what have you. But I thought it might be fun to inform all of you who Oscar Huff is. Why is this name here on the example report? Is it a person? Is it just a made-up name that doesn't belong to anything special? Well, fortunately, it actually does belong to something special, a certain dog, actually. And this dog has a story, so I figured why not tell you all about it, give you another piece of the Blackstone puzzle so you know more about us and the character that makes us who we are. This dog actually belonged to the vice president of the company, Kristen Huff. So I was in my office preparing reports, sifting through emails, and of course on the side pondering what might be a good upcoming topic for the podcast, and I thought, you know what? I know who Oscar is, and I know that it is Kristen's dog, but I don't know very much other than that. Very general details. So it was an opportunity for me to learn something as well. So I just shot her a message and asked for any fun facts that have to do with Oscar. So first of all, nicest dog ever. And I think, it's a unique thing about dog owners. If you've ever had a dog you love, then they are the best at something in your mind, and I can certainly relate to that. I was raised with dogs, and my family got all of ours from the shelter. And, I know people can go about getting dogs different ways, but it was always gratifying for us to get one from the shelter. So, for me, the thing that made my dog my first dog the best was that she would play kickball with us. She would run the bases. She knew when to run. She would, try and actually play the game. That's what made my first dog the best to me, but Oscar for Kristen happened to be the nicest dog ever. As for what kind of dog we're talking about, part pit bull, part Dalmatian, and I think that's another thing I can also relate to is we always had mutts. So you had something unique every time. Although I will say that, going forward in life, I will at one point have a purebred German Shepherd, but that's just another dream for another day. As for the name itself, though, Oscar wasn't the first name. Originally, the name of this dog was Thor, of course, the god of thunder, and I like that name quite a bit too. Thor Huff doesn't have quite the same ring, though, as Oscar Huff for the example report, so I can't be too mad at the change there. So Oscar came into Kristen's possession out there in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, to be specific. So a shy dog, nicest dog ever, and Oscar is no longer with us, which is kind of a sad truth. But that's just how it goes when you get dogs. And I also kind of wonder this quite often myself whenever I have a pet that has to pass away. I'm like, why did I go do that to myself? Go and get a pet that I knew wasn't going to be able to hang with me for, till the end of time. And that's a question I don't quite have an answer for. But one thing is true, and that is the experiences, the character that any particular pet leaves behind is with you forever, even if they aren't. So Oscar is very much ingrained in Blackstone lore with every single example report we send out. And just something to keep in mind if you are one of those people who ends up opening your email attachment with your report included. If you see that name, no, we didn't mix up your report. Instead, you are able to learn more about not only what the reports mean, but you're also able to learn a little bit more about Blackstone, what makes us special, what makes us unique. One thing's for sure, you're never going to open up a report or an example report from another lab and see that little bit of character. Those bits and pieces that let you know that you're looking at the real McCoy of a personalized report brought to you by folks that don't merely want to punch out a robotic comment, something generalized, something made to be read like a user manual or something like that. No, every aspect of our comment has personality to it. So I once heard a pastor describe a very short sermon as a sermonette. I'm not sure what I want to call these podcasts that are rather brief in nature, but we're into the whole brevity thing today, and that's okay. I had one of our reoccurring listeners reach out on YouTube and say they loved the longer episodes, but these quick hitters, referring to an episode that was about like 10, 15 minutes. They said they loved those too. So we're glad to not take up too much space and instead feed bits and pieces, fragments, hidden gems about Blackstone on this show every now and again. So hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed learning just a little bit more about us. And if you have any questions pertaining to, other aspects of Blackstone, more detail on our founding, our founders, who runs the show, any other details you might be curious of that would make for a good, quick episode, always feel free to reach out and ask. I had to bring this Oscar Huff episode to the table at some point because I just had too many emails happen over the years where folks just wondered, hey, what's this report and who does it belong to? Because it's not me. So we're glad to talk about that with you all. So thank you so much for listening. As always, if you like what you're hearing, don't forget to rate and review. Not every podcast service offers that opportunity. We realize that. But if you are listening on a platform like Apple Podcasts and can throw a 5-star rating on there, leave a comment. We'd love to hear back any feedback on any particular episodes. Give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter if you haven't already. And especially on Instagram, we love the interaction, being able to feature folks on our stories. If you you changing your oil, you're getting a kit, you're getting, putting the Slick Talk sticker on something special. We love seeing those in use on, people will be in their garage and their shop. If you want to show off swags, show off your used oil analysis adventures, we'd love to hear that. So don't be afraid to tag us and we'll feature you. This is Blackstone Joe signing off.